Hey, my name's Jason Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk to you about rents. It looks like for now, they might have finally peaked after months, if not 3 years of crazy rental increases. The market has finally hit a ceiling, but agents and Zoopla and everybody else is saying that this could be a temporary pause because of the potential of lots more landlords leaving the market, reducing supply and pushing up the cost of rents. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what the average rents got to, how much the market has slowed down in the rental market. And I think this is important to understand if you're a tenant, if you're a landlord, or even if you just want to know what's going on in the market. It's important to really get a grip on what's going on. Now, if you're new around here and you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We're on the way to 44,000 subscribers, which is crazy. And by subscribing, you'll get all the latest property news, house price news, interest rate news, and much, much more. And let's get some views on this video. How do we do that? Simple. Smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that really helps the channel grow. So thank you to everybody that does that. So what's going on? Well, Zoopla have given some updates, and Zoopla have some great data. Now, every month, with my property portfolio, I like to get an understanding on what's going on with my property. And Zoopla have their house price index, which I like to put my properties in and just see what they feel the properties are worth. Now, that's not the most accurate tool because it's an estimate, but it does give me an idea and some sort of guide. But they also obviously have a lot of data on rent because people are listing properties for rent on their site, and they're saying that rents have finally dropped, and they're going up now at 2.8% a year. So that has dropped significantly. Now, last year this was even higher, and it was 6.4% last year. And some places last year hit over 10%. The Northeast was really strong with rent increases in that area. And this is something that people are keeping an eye on. And it's something that I feel should get more talked about when we get the inflation data. Because when rents were going up at 6.4% and the government is saying inflation was at 2%, your rent going up by 6% is going to hit you significantly harder than your grocery shopping going up. Because for most people, your rent is your biggest bill. And once that increase is likely to stay there forever. It doesn't normally come back down. It's very rare you'll get a landlord say, you know what, I'll reduce your rent. So right now, rents have hit a ceiling, and that's due to affordability. People are just tapped out, and so people that have put their rents higher are finding they're not getting the inquiries at this point, and so they're having to reduce the rent, and that means the average annual increase is now at 2.8%, which is a lot better, and that's below inflation, and it's also below the wage increase, which is around 5% still at the moment. So it's giving people a bit of breathing room and helping them catch up. What is the average rent at the moment? So the average rent is crazy high. It's £1,287, and that is up on an annual basis £35. So not too bad in that front, but £1,287, you think about it, that's someone's take-home pay they've got to pay that with. It's not the gross pay, and that is a huge burden for a lot of people, and people are really, really struggling with these ultra-high rents at the moment. Now, also, over the last few years, so let's look at how much rent has gone up on a combined basis. So since 2022, we are 21% higher than since 2022. I mean, that compounded is a huge increase for a lot of people, and that's what we've been talking about. Rents have been absolutely out of control. Now, the reason for that is because a lot of landlords left the market. The private rental sector at the moment is the same size as it was in 2016, but we've had a huge growth in our population since then. You see, a lot of landlords have quit the market. A lot of tenants are probably going to watch this video and say, good, get rid of the landlords. But that's the problem that you've got. By having more properties to rent and building more properties and making more supply, that's what would bring rents down and make places more affordable. By pushing landlords out with Section 24 tax, with the EPC legislation, the Renters' Rights Bill and various other stuff, making it very unfriendly. You've got interest rates that rose significantly as well. That meant a lot of landlords quit, 30% of landlords quit. And that meant that rents went up at this alarming rate, 21% in just 3 years, which is absolutely crazy. Now, in that time, house prices only went up 4%. So that's a very stark difference there. The annual rent increase, is 219 up. Since 2022, people's rent on average has gone up £219, which is £2,650 on an annual basis. That's a huge amount. Now, Zoopla and agents are saying that while we've got a pause in rent growth at the moment, they're expecting things to start going back to these sorts of levels, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% increases. And that's due to the fact that you've got a lot of bad policies from the government. You see, I've done a video last week where the government wants landlords to give their properties to the immigrants. They want to get rid of the hotels and reduce the costs and put people up in accommodation, but that would shrink the rental market even more. You've also got these policies that mean that 50% of landlords that are still in the market that are being surveyed, 50% of them want to leave the market right now. If that happened, that would be an absolute catastrophe. And that's because of things like the Renters' Rights Bill, the EPC legislation, the tax, the interest rates still being high. While they are coming down, there's a lot of anti-landlord sentiment and people just want to leave the market. Now, if that continues to happen, rents are going to go up at these alarming rates. And this is going to be some sort of major problem. Now, you might say, well, we could put a rental cap on and maybe that would fix the problem. Well, Scotland tried to do that. And by doing that, rents went up in a few years by 25%. We've already had a 21% increase in just 3 years. Imagine another 25% on top of that. It would be crazy. Now, you might say there is this level and people are only willing to pay a certain amount, or they can only pay a certain amount. But if you shrink the rental sector, then there will always be someone that can afford that more expensive property, and the people that can't will then have a real problem because there isn't even social housing for them to go into. So this is good right now. It is positive that rents have slowed down for sure, and also wages are going up at more than the rental increases at the moment. So that's going to make things more affordable for people. But what we should be looking at now is making sure we don't start this up again by pushing more landlords out the market. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do make sure you like the video and subscribe, and also check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.